Hey guys, we're out here in beautiful Litchfield, Kentucky today, and I'm going to lay this kitchen floor in some VCT tile. A couple weeks ago I made a video about skim coating it, and it's all skim coated except there's a rough spot right there, I'm going to hit that with some more floor patch. While that's dry, I'll mark the floor, get it all glued up, and we'll start slamming some tile on the floor. Okay, we're going to lay out our floor here. We've got the tape measure on one wall, coming over to the opposite wall, and it's actually where it's meeting hardwood here, but that's where we want our even tiles. We have 13 feet, approximately 5 inches. So what you do, you take the inches, add that to the width of your tile, which is 12. That gives you 17. Then you take 17 divided by 2, which gives you 8.5. So it doesn't matter where you put this chalk line. I come down here, I'm going to be starting in this doorway. We're going to lay our tile boxes here, and I'll start the laying process out of this doorway. So I want the chalk line in the doorway. So you can come down, it doesn't matter if it's 9 foot, 8.5 inches, but that's not the door. So 10 foot, 8.5 inches. Then I went down to the opposite end to the baseboard. I measured over 10 foot, 8.5 inches, made a mark. We chalked our line, and then from my starting point to the cabinets over there was also give me a 8-inch tile. So on the ends here, down by the cabinet, we'll have an 8-inch tile. On that wall over there, and in this doorway, we'll have an 8.5-inch tile. We're ready to go. We've already marked it, we've already chalked it, and I'm going to begin the gluing process. I just want to show you a close-up how small these notches are. There's my fingernail, and these are about 1/32 deep and probably a 1/16 apart. You don't want any notch bigger than that. The notch over here on this side of the trowel, that's for laying carpet. You want more glue so the glue can soak up into the backing of the carpet. But on tile, you just want a very thin ridge. I'm going to start back here in the closet. First, come away from my starting point. And you want to get up within a 1/2 inch of your walls. You don't want to leave any big puddles, and you don't want to leave any holidays, any blank spots. And if when you're gluing you feel a nub from the floor stone or anything like that, a paint chip, you just use your trowel and cut it down. There's one right there. Matter of fact, that is a staple in the floor, so when I come back to put the towel down, I'll grab some pliers and I'll pull that staple up. I'm going to get this glue all over the pliers. And this is a little cheap do-it-yourself trowel. I bought this, it was $4. And it's not as long as the others, so it's going to take a few more strokes to cover everything. That's okay. It's better than paying $30 or $40 for a special trowel and I'm going to use it once. Kind of like to outline a general area around the edges here. And once I get it outlined, you can really take off the fly with it. hold your trowel up about a 60-degree angle. You don't want it real flat or it makes the notches lower. You don't need it real far up or you just want to dig up your floor some. It's been a couple of years since I've done this, so I'm not quite as good as I used to be. And I got this little rinky-dink trowel. And you use your fingers. Now this glue will dry clear, so all the marks that we made will show through the glue when it dries. You want to let this glue, this is the type of, it's called clear set. It's not a wet set glue. It's a dry set. So you put it on wet, it's yellow. When it dries, it'll be clear. When it doesn't transfer to your hands and everything's good and clear, you know you're ready to go. Most of it will remain. Now down at the beginning where I'm going to start, I did take a straight edge and made about a 4-foot pencil mark on top of my chalk line. Just because the chalk line, the powder come out a little thick and you want a good sharp clean edge so you know exactly where your roll is going to go. Now the floor stone's starting to build up on my trowel. A little trick I learned is, whoop, hit, got a little bit on the wall. Go like that. That'll clean those edges off there for you. And this can just be tossed. Alright, got about a third of the floor glued up. Here, I'm going to go ahead and finish. We'll turn the camera off so we all get out of the way. I can talk and, not talk and glue. Get all this glued up and then we'll be back when it's dry and we're ready to lay the tile. Now your first few tiles are really important because these are square tiles. You only have one line. I've got a starting mark to start following on the chalk line here. You don't want to have to start turning tiles. They're perfectly square. So you don't want to cross line, you know, lay this way and then follow a line that way, because when you get out in the middle, it's not going to come together right. Nothing in this world is a perfect circle, nothing's a perfect 90-degree angle. So your very first tile you put down is really important. Get it right directly on that chalk line. And when you put your hand on it, you don't want to be putting a lot of pressure and moving it. It will scooch just a little bit. When you put your second tile on, once you get the second tile, you can tell it's exactly on that pencil mark I made. And you're not going to cut in as you go. You're going to get all the field tile laid first. We are alternating the grain. It kind of looks like some of these marks are running long ways. You can run your tile with all those marks running in one direction, or you can alternate them. When you alternate them, it gives them a basket weave look. And you want to make sure when you put one down that it's going in the right direction, because when you go to try to pull it up, it's going to pull the floor stone, glue and everything up, and you may have to repatch that area. You want to make sure your four corners where they meet are good and together. If one row starts to get ahead of the other, or side to side row starts to go off a little bit, it'll open up a little window. And they can get big. You can end up with a 1/4 inch blank spot right there between them tiles. So you want to make sure every tile is good and perfect. Give it a little pat when you put it down. Get it good and stuck in the glue. Now I don't want to go this way. I want to stay on my chalk line until I know I'm running good and straight. I get the bulk of it down that line. And as I go forward here and get ready to put my toes, I'm going to have to put my, kneel on here and put my toes on the tile. And you can give it a little bit, if it's running off, you can give it a little bit of oomph. But that just means every other tile that you go in that row, it's going to have a little extra oomph to it too. And when you get your toes on here, you don't want to do this and start pushing pressure out with your feet where you can slide that tile. So once I get enough room here, I'll tuck my feet under me to where the slick side of my shoes is on the tile and not the rubber grippy part. Once these get going, the field tile will go really quickly. Show me that chalk line. When you open up a fresh box of tile, just from the factory and from shipping, the tile jostling about, you get a lot of debris, like granulars of tile and tile dust. So open up your box, leave the side straight, just take your hand, give it a little bit of a wipe. You know, it may be a grain that's a 64th of an inch wide. But if you got that on one box and not on another, every tile is going to be a 64th of an inch further down the line, and 64 tiles, you're running off an inch, so that adds up after a while. I want to show you something over here too. Come to this corner, and a whole tile will not fit here. It hits the cabinet, but I want to go ahead and lay into this cabinet here as I go. So what I'll do, you just take a tile and lightly lay it. Use it as a spacer. Put another one here. Use it as a spacer. Now I know that I can go ahead and lay this one in there. And when I eventually cut these in, they're at the proper distance apart. And I'll just keep laying here. And then lay on up underneath the desk area here. That way you can get all your fill tile laid and then come back in and cut it in. We've got a curved edge here. You can't really put quarter round down there. Quarter round doesn't curve unless you've got, unless you know what you're doing, and you can curve it in the back and bend it. And there are some flexible sculpture moldings, but you really don't want, it's a nice clean looking edge. So when I cut this in, part of this video, I'll show you how to cut those curves. Well, we got all the fill tile laid. Now we just got to cut her in. All the hole pieces that would fit are in. And when I start cutting in, I'll probably have to start cutting in the closet here so I can put a piece there. And then we go that way. You don't really want to start like there and then have to meet up with a towel you got sticking out. So you're going to start next to a towel that you got sticking out, because I didn't space these like I did that first spot over there. I'll just start here and go over, and it won't matter about the spacing because it's going to end at a cabinet. It's not coming towel to towel. It'll be going towel to kickboard there, toe kick. And we'll get her all cut in here shortly, and I'll probably do a little segment on how to cut some in. Okay, time to start cutting in. I'm going to start off with this door jamb, and there are multiple ins and outs and the angles, because the casing around door jambs, they kind of angle out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a towel here and I'm going to lay it on top of here. I'm going to get it exactly square with the others. Then I'm simply going to take another towel and I'm going to go up against the jamb part there. And can you see that back there? Tilt this up. And take a pencil and straight down from here. I'm going to make me a mark. Then I'm going to come up to that corner, get it even right there. Make me a mark. Come over here to my jamb. There's a little flat part of a jamb, and you want to make sure that your gauge towel that you're using is square with the others. You don't want it cockeyed. So if you ain't sure, you can always take another towel and lay square on a seam, and then just kind of eyeball the distance between the two to make sure that you're square, and then mark it on your towel down here. And I'm going to move it a little bit there, a little bit there, and so I've basically got most of my marks there. So now I'm going to transfer that to here to make my angles here, my cuts. You want everything to line up good. Take your gauge towel, put up there. Make sure this is on the camera. I think it is. Make a mark there. There. And the camera leg's in the way. Make a mark there. It's hard to do. I'm in a closet. The camera's in the closet and I'm cutting in a closet. Make a mark there. Take my gauge towel back up. Let's see, we've got a little insets a little bit there. Make a mark. Got another mark here. Now this is a compound cut. So May not be very easy to understand on a video, but I'll do some simpler cuts, just regular outside corners, and you can kind of get the gist of it. But we've pretty much got our marks. It's really hard to see on this blue towel, but I'm going to heat this up and I'll turn the camera back on and show you how I cut. Alright, I've got some heat in the towel. You can see it's nice and soft. If you use your heat gun on high, always turn it down to the low setting before you turn it off, and it preserves some of the life from the element. Now I can barely see these marks, but this knife already just cut pretty much almost all the way through. Follow your pencil marks. This one has about 20 different cuts. Most of them aren't this compound. And use a spare towel, put underneath it so you don't cut your new floor. Don't try to cut all the way through on your first try. Score it a little bit, then maybe put a little bit more heat on it. Run your knife through the cuts again, and then it'll just come right apart. And where the door jamb is rounded, I'm going to leave some excess towel, and when I go to put it in, if it's too tight, you can always put a little heat on it to take some more off. But you can't really can't add any to it, so you want to leave you some extra. A little heat there. Towel's cooling off, getting stiff again. I'm way off on that cut. Took the quarter out. There's my cut. Now we'll set it in here and see how she fits. Like I said, if it don't fit exactly right, cut another towel or heat it up. Cut the excess off. Looks like I got a little extra there, so we'll take the gun. Get the ring long enough. Let's see. Plug it into our drop light here. See if we can catch the extension cord on fire. You don't want to put too much heat on it, get it too hot, or it will blister, but it will start to smoke. You don't want to breathe too much of the smoke. These are vinyl towels, and it will release a little bit of vinyl chloride. Which, if you've ever had a train derail anywhere near your town, tankers of vinyl chloride, they evacuate about a 5-mile area. Then you take another piece of towel, tamp her down so it's not all curled up. And there you go. There you go. It's a cut in a door jamb. Fits like a glove. Now just real quick, I want to show you how to make some straight cuts. We'll make some cuts here against this threshold. All you got to do is line your towels up evenly across the front. Make sure the seams line up. Take you a scrap piece of towel. Make sure it's still a whole 12-inch towel though. Butt it up to where you want to go. Lay it on top of the other one. Take your knife. Score down it a couple of times. Simply snap it apart. Voila! Perfect fit. There you go. We've made some compound cuts. We made a straight cut. And we'll get the rest of this cut in, and we will be back to show you the finished product. Yep, perfect fit. It's got a little wore away spot there in the wood. You just have to fill that, get you some blue caulk and fill right in. Lined up. Find the pencil. Just go through and make some marks every few fractions of an inch. And if I can see my marks good enough, I just trace it. What I did, I made little stair steps. When I moved it from one tile to the other, I made my marks. It made these little in and out stairs. And if I'm halfway straight, I can just connect the tips of those stairs, and it should give me a pretty good radius. On light color tile, the marks show up really well. Probably use on dark tile, maybe a white grease pencil or something like that. Sweet. Look at that. Man. First try. That's how you cut a radius circle, or a radius cut. These shouldn't slide anywhere. I've got all this tight, so nothing should go anywhere. Well, folks, the floor is all finished. We got it swept up. Looks great. Everything's cut in tight. It will be shinier. Tiles come with a factory finish on them, a factory coat of wax, just to protect them, to keep dirt from being ground in while they're being installed and while they're, in transit in the boxes, so they don't scratch each other up too much. So after it's set a couple of weeks and been walked on, the tiles are pressed down in the glue really good, no air voids in underneath them. Then my son-in-law here will take and go over it with a stripper, not the kind at a bar, but a wax stripper that takes the finished coat off here. It'll kind of look a little dull, and then they'll put 2 or 3 coats of wax on top of it. The first coat of wax will sink into the pores of the tile, help protect that really well. The second, third coat of wax will put a nice shine on it. And I don't know if the camera's picking up where it looks like corrugation. But that's just where they were in the box when they were shipped and everything. That factory finish is, they rub against each other. And all that will come out, and this will be one beautiful floor. Well, thanks for watching, guys.